Ummah will treat you as God, just as the Christians have taken Jesus to be their God. So many times they hold themselves back from explaining. But today a few things, and one particular point I want to hit home today. And that is we see as in our capacity certain problems in the community with regards to the 12th Imam. And I'll highlight it to you, but one particular, let me start off with the very basic things that you do realize that in the Ahl al-Tasannun and in the Shiite books, we've got numerous traditions that talk about the 12th Imam with their names. So if anybody tells you that names are not there in the traditions, no. All the names are given. Min Amir al-Mu'mineen ila Qa'im Ali Muhammad. From the first to the last with their names. The Prophet has mentioned the names and given. But somebody who wants to go deviated, will not accept anything. Now, these individuals, their khilqat and their creation is very different. Their entire life is mu'jiz numa. And one of the individuals is the 12th Imam. I'll give you a couple of examples. It was exactly in this time. So we are at 10 o'clock, probably closer to the namaz time. Because you know, he was born closer to namaz Fajr. And from the time that the traditions came, everybody was waiting for the 12th to come, and so that they could kill him. And that's why you find a very characteristic difference in the lifestyles of from the 9th Imam onwards and before the 9th Imam onwards. Before the 9th Imam onwards, the lives were not as monitoring, surveillance, suffocating. But from the 9th Imam, they realized the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th. And so the ikhtinaq, the suffocation became immense. And that is one of the reasons you'll find that all the Imams prior to the 9th Imam, they lived long lives. 55, 63, 63, 57. Imam Husayn 57, Amir al-Mu'mineen 63, Prophet 63. But the moment you come from the 9th Imam, all of them, the ages have gone down. 20, 40. The reason is this, the suffocation was so much. They didn't allow them to live for long because they knew the 12th is coming. So when Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam, when he was, people would come and ask him, and you know, his imamat was only 6 years. We've explained this during the time of his munasabat. That Imam, the 11th Imam, his lifetime was only 6 years. And in those 6 years, he has to do things to prepare for a ghaibat of right now 1200 years. God knows how many 5,000 years, 10,000 years. So he has to make those things ready for the people. One of the things that he had to do was to make sure, and not just he, even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they had to make sure that this 12th individual, the 12th hujjat of God, has to be protected. He cannot be killed. Because the entire daromadar of the wa'ada of Allah lies on him. He has to be protected at any cost. The world needs to change upside down, but he has to remain. I will make the world go upside down to keep this man alive. I will change my laws of physics to keep this man alive. Rawat says, now it's 1200 years. God knows when he's going to come. But when he comes, people will see him as a 40-year-old man. 1200 years later, 2000 years later, somebody comes as a 40-year-old man. Where are all the scientific theories of cells changing every 7 years gone? Where are the processes of aging? Where is those Michael Jackson's oxygen thermobaric chambers to prevent him aging? What are all these millions of dollars that are spent by these billionaires to stop aging process, but they don't stop? How is it that these people in 100 years fade away as a withered flower, whereas somebody 1200 years is now coming as a 40-year-old? God says, I'm going to change the laws of physics for this man. I'm going to change the laws of nature for this man because he's so important. So a lot of things change, a lot of things are different with regards to the 12th Imam as opposed to the other people. One of them is his Wiladat. So when the 6th Imam had already prophesied that, the Prophet had prophesied the 12th is coming. When his Wiladat was going to come near, the aunt of the 11th Imam, Janabi Hakima, who's also buried in the qabr. Do you go to Samra? You got there are 4 qabr. The 10th Imam, the 11th Imam, Bibi Narjis Khatun, and Janabi Hakima Khatun. So Imam Askari alayhi salam had told his aunt, on this day, today, nearing the time of Fajr, Narjis is going to deliver a child. Riwayat tell us, it is around this time at night. The Janabi Hakima Khatun is with Narjis Khatun, is Bibi Narjis. And she's voting Bibi Narjis. And Hassan Askari alayhi salam had told him aunt tonight, that hujjat of God on whom the prophecy and the wa'ada of Allah is going to be implemented upon this earth is going to be born. Sees no signs of pregnancy. There is no signs of pregnancy. She is now, because the Imam Askari said that child is going to be born, she leaves her house and comes over here to help Bibi Narjis Khatun to deliver. No signs of haml. There's no signs of pregnancy, nothing. No tummy, no bump, nothing. Around this time at night, somewhere around middle of the night, she's in the room with Narjis Khatun. Imam Askari is in another room. He looks at Narjis Khatun, doesn't see a baby bump, doesn't see anything, and a thought crosses her mind. That Hassan has said the child is being born, but I don't see any signs of pregnancy or delivery. Is it really going to take place today? Riwayat tells us, as soon as she says it from the other room, Imam Hassan Askari calls out and says, "Oh my aunt, do not allow skepticism and doubts to enter into your hearts, because this is the Amr of God. You cannot understand the Amr of God. You cannot understand how God functions. Wait, and that hujjat of God will come upon the earth." So she waits. As she waits, she comes. It's now very close to Fajr time. As it is very close to Fajr time, all of a sudden, she goes running to the room of Imam Hassan Askari al-Islam. And she says, "Nargis has disappeared from my sight. I can't see her now. She's gone. She's not there." Imam looks at her and smiles. He says, "Look, these are the secrets of God. You don't understand. These things happen. I'm not in a liberty to tell you all these things. But these things happen." He says, "But Hassan, she's not there. She's disappeared. She was there with me. In a second, she's just gone." Imam Askari says, "Aunt, go back to the room and you will find Hakima sitting. You will find Narjis over there." Hakima Khatun comes and she's Narjis Khatun sitting. She's not able to understand what has happened. Now, these are those secrets, asrar. Sometimes we will discuss how things work in the family. But right now, let's not go into details because I want to take you somewhere else. And then when the actual time of delivery comes, just near time of Fajr, all of a sudden, Janab Hakima Khatun says, I was watching and I was looking at this thing, and I'm looking at the time that he's mentioned to me it's coming. And all of a sudden she sees between me and Narjis Khatun a halo, a curtain of light comes. Now I know she's sitting on the other side. I'm on the side. Between me, a light, a curtain of nur comes. And I don't see what is happening, what on the other side. Within a short time, that nur of light goes and I see this child in the hands of Narjis Khatun. Now, what happens after that? There are numerous traditions. Ila tawatur. What happens, how he was born, what he did when he was born, what du'as he recited, what ayat he recited. Those are different things, because we don't want to go into the Wiladat right now. It's just to start off and set the tone going as to what it is. So this is how the Wiladat takes place. And it's an extraordinary Wiladat for an extraordinary man. Based on how the man is, the arrangements are done accordingly. He's not an ordinary man. So the births are not ordinary, the circumstances are not ordinary, they have to be extraordinary. Anyway, the hujjat of God is upon the earth. Now that you've understood that, I want to take you to a tradition in the book Kamaluddin wa Tamamun Ni'mah of Sheikh Saduq. Now, many times this particular book, you will see with different names. At times it is Kamaluddin wa Tamamun Ni'mah. At times it is Ikmaluddin wa Itmamun Ni'mah. And this is because what this particular name, Ikmaluddin wa Itmamun Ni'mah, is being used because Aga Buzurg Tehrani in his book Ad-Dariya fi Tasanif Shia, he's mentioned this name. But anyway, it's the same book, written by whom? By Sheikh Saduq. Now, where I'm taking you today, you need to know a little bit about how the Imam interacts with his Shiites, and specifically the Salihin. This personality, Sheikh Saduq, his entire life is around Imam Zaman alayhi salam, and the mu'jizat of Imam Zaman with him. From his birth to his death and after his death. Everything is Madyun, is indebted to Imam Zaman. Everywhere you find the footprint of Imam Zaman over there. A special lutf, which itself is a living testimony that Imam takes care of his Shiites. He is born with the dua of Imam Zaman alayhi salam. He was born. Now that's an entirely different issue. His father goes to the time of the third Naib, Husayn ibn Raw al-Nawbakhti. See, when we go for ziyarat, if we go for ziyarat, I don't know if I've mentioned this over here. But you all need to be aware of one thing. When we go for ziyarat, if you're asked, do you want an appointment with Ayatollah Sistani? We'll jump. Oh, we want to meet him. He's the naib of the Imam. He's the naib arm of the Imam. Who would not want to meet him? But do you know all the four naibs are buried in Baghdad. All of them are buried in Baghdad. How many of us actually go there? Ayatollah Sistani, Ayatollah Bashir Najfi, Ayatollah Fayyad, Ayatollah Wahid al-Khurasani, Ayatollah X, Ayatollah Y, all the Maraji, they are the representatives, but An-Nawab al-Am, they're the Naib Am, not specifically identified. Whereas these four were specifically identified by Imam that they could meet him anytime they wanted in Ghaibat al-Sughra. All of them are buried in Baghdad. The taxi drivers take $100 to $150, but it's worth it. If we go to see Ayatollah Sistani, it is a shame that if you're able to afford, if you're 3 people, 4 people gather together, hire a car, and they will take you. They are in very deep locations. But these are those Naib Khas through whom the Imam communicated in Ghaibat al-Sughra. Till that last letter that came out to that last Naib, when he says, إِنَّكَ مَيِّتٌ بَيْنَكُمْ فِي سِتَّةَ أَيَّامٍ. From this day, this letter reaches you, in 6 days you will die. These are there. These are places you need to go. I have gone there, so I'm telling you. These are, you feel the spirituality at those places. These are Naib Khas. Any time they wanted to meet the Imam, they could meet the Imam. We don't go there. We go here, we go there. So anyway, that's a different issue. Now, Sheikh Saduq, he was born because of the dua of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. His father went, he complained, I'm not getting a child. And very quickly, I'm not getting a child. And he writes to Sheikh Husayn ibn Rawan Nawbakhti. He says, please pass this letter of mine to Sahib al-Amr. And in this he writes over there that I don't have a child. Can you please pray to Allah that He graces me a child? And then after 3 days, and with a few other questions, and Imam answers the question and then writes to him, إِنَّكَ لَا تُرْزَقُ مِنْ هَذِهِ. From this wife of yours, you're not going to get children. إِنَّكَ لَا تُرْزَقُ مِنْ هَذِهِ. This particular wife that is there with you, you're not going to get a child. وَسَتَمْلَكُ جَارِيَةً دَيْلَمِيَةً. A Dailami slave girl is going to shortly come to you. When she comes to you from her, وَسَتُرْزَقُ مِنْ هَذِهِ وَلَدَيْنِ الذَّكَرَيْنِ فَقِهَيْنِ خَيِّرَيْنِ. From them I have prayed to Allah, and you will be given 2 male children who are going to be faqih, who are going to be khayr. And from that, this was told to the father of Sheikh Saduq. Father of Sheikh Saduq, Ali ibn Babwa Qumi. His son, Sheikh Saduq, Muhammad ibn Ali ibn Babwa Qumi. Sheikh Saduq was born. Sheikh Saduq and his son. Both of them became faqih. And then afterward, the third brother was born. He did not become a faqih, but he was a pious person, a righteous person. 3 children Sheikh Ali ibn Babwa Qumi got when he was not having a child. 2 of them by the dua of Imam al-Zamana. 1 of them Sheikh Saduq. That's why Sheikh Saduq, throughout his life, he would always do iftikhar. Ana walidtu min du'a sahib al-amr, min da'wati sahib al-amr. I have been born by the dua of Sahib al-Zaman. That was his birth. This particular book, Ikmaluddin wa Itmam al-Ni'ma. This book also was written by Sheikh Saduq upon the orders of Imam al-Zamana. He himself has written in the Muqaddamah I have read it myself, the Muqaddamah. Go to Ikmaluddin Itmam al-Ni'ma, in the Muqaddamah. A long Muqaddamah is written. And in that he writes why I wrote this book. He says, I'd gone to Nishapur. I'd gone for the ziyarat of Imam Rada al-Islam in Mashhad. After doing the ziyarat, I went to Nishapur. When I went to Nishapur, people raised a Sheikh Saduq. Sheikh Saduq was a name. He used to live in Ray. His qabr is also in Ray, Tehran, next to Tehran. Ray, you know where it is? The marqad of Shah Abdul Azim. You know Shah Abdul Azim Hassani, you'll go when you go to ziyarat of Tehran. In that, next to it. So Shah Abdul Azim was companion of the 10th and the 11th Imam. And Sheikh Saduq is buried over there in the city of Ray. This was the same Ray. The Shahr of Ray, the city of Ray was the same Ray that Umar Asad wanted. And that's why he came into fight with Imam Husayn in Islam. Imam says, you will not even get the corn, the wheat of Ray, which is what it turned out. Neither the Ray got, dunya gayi, akhirat gayi. Khasara dunya wa khasara al-akhirat. Dunya lost, akhirat lost. But over here, So he's written in the Muqaddamah of Ikmaluddin wa Itmamun Ni'mah. He says, I went to Ziyarat Mashhad, then I went to Nishapur. When I went to Nishapur, a lot of people from Nishapur came to me asking me about Shubahat about Imam Zamana. I answered them. Then I came to, and a lot of people said, write books on Imam Zamana because we don't know a lot of things about him. Then he says, I came to Qum, and then he mentions one Aba Salt, Najmuddin, Sheikh Najmuddin, a very prominent scholar. And he also tells him, Sheikhna, you need to write a book because a lot of people are having a lot of misgivings about Imam Zamana. And so he makes his niyyah that I have to write this book. He says, then I go to sleep at night. In my dreams, I'm seeing I'm in the Kaaba. I'm doing the tawaf of Kaaba. And he says, in my dreams, I know I've done 6, I'm in the 7th Kaaba. A 7th tawaf. And at that point of time, I'm just standing near Hajar Aswad. Astalimuhu wa uqabbiluhu, he writes his words. He says, I kiss it, and I touch it, and I kiss it. Astalimuhu wa uqabbiluhu. I touch it, and I kiss it. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing Imam Zamana standing next to me. He's writing in his book. It is there. It's gone to the internet. You got hard copies, you got soft copies. And then he says, Imam Zamana tells me, why don't you write a book on the ghaibat? He says, Ibn Rasulullah, I've written a lot of things about ghaibat. He says, no, not those kinds. I want you to write a book in which you bring about the ghaibats of the previous prophets and the previous awsiya, so that people then don't have misgivings about my ghaibat. Bring about proofs in the past, in the history, about the prophets that have gone on ghaibat, into the awliya and the awsiya who have gone into ghaibat, so that you can prove by means of those ghaibat that my ghaibat is not something out of the once in a thing. It is done before and Allah has done it and I'm nothing, no exception. Yes, it's a long one. And so he gets up and he weeps and he says, till morning I wept. And that very day I started writing this book. And the Ajib book is divided into 5 chapters and it's an Ajib book, Ikmaluddin wa Itmamun Ni'mah. Anyway, he writes this, in this there is a hadith where I want to take you. The hadith says this. He says, a tradition from the 6th Imam, he says, Man thabata ala wilayatina fi ghaybati qa'imina a'ta'ahu Allahu ajra alf shaheed min shuhada'i Badr wa Uhud. He says, if a person, now this is exactly directly related to us. He says, if a person were to remain on our wilayat, the wilayat of the Ahlul Bayt, fi ghaybati qa'imina, at the time of the ghaybat of our qa'im, for that person who is on the iman of the tashayyuf faith, believing in ghaybat, during the time of ghaybat, Allah will give him the rewards of 1,000 shaheed of Badr and Uhud. You understand, yeah, the battle of Badr was a very critical battle. If Islam had lost that battle, Islam ka Fatiha would have been recited, finished. That was so important. And that's why always the Shuhada of Badr are regarded high. They were there till 61 Hijri Muharram. When Ashur came, they became second. Shuhada Karbala became superior to them. So Shuhada of Uhud and Shuhada of Badr are regarded very heavily. He says, if a person follows the faith and the path of the Ahlul Bayt during the ghaibat of Imam Zamana, each one will be given the rewards of 1,000 Shuhada of Badr. Pick up the Quran to see how Allah praises the Shuhada of Badr. Pick up the Riwayat, pick up Basal al-Shia, you know what does Shuhada of Badr mean. And not 1,000. And you know, Shuhada, ordinary Shaheed, the moment his first drop of blood falls, all his sins are forgiven. Let alone a Shaheed of Badr and Uhud, and let alone 1,000. One person, you and me now in this state when Imam is ghaib, believing in his ghaibat and the vilayat of the Ahlul Bayt, given rewards of 1,000 Shuhada of Badr. And that is why we always want to say, we want to be with this man. We want to be with this personality. To be with this personality means it's entirely different. And that is why we keep reciting every Friday. A Friday will come, you will recite the ziyarat. Haj Murtaza Sahab, Haji recites it. What do you say? What do you say? وَاجْعَلْنِي وَالْمُسْتَشْهَدِينَ أَنْ يَجْعَلَنِي مِنَ الْمُنْتَظِرِينَ لَكَ وَالتَّابِعِينَ وَالنَّاصِرِينَ لَكَ عَلَىٰ أَعْدَائِكَ وَالْمُسْتَشْهَدِينَ بَيْنَ يَدَيْكَ. Oh Allah, grant us that we become shaheed while fighting alongside him in the global revolution. Why? Because that is the peak of you can receive in terms of shuhada. We want to be that. That is what we feel. And that is why we keep saying, Allahumma ajjil li waliyika al-faraj, Allahumma ajjil li waliyika al-faraj. Problem is this. We keep thinking that we are doing something good. We think that we are the best of the people. We keep saying, Allahumma ajjil li waliyika al-faraj, waj'alni min al-mustashhadina bayna yaday. Make us from the shuhada fighting alongside Imam Zamana. We keep praying, Allahumma ajjil waliyak. Hasten his reappearance, hasten his reappearance. But is that what Imam feels about us? So you have to always remember this one thing, yeah? And you keep hearing this. Shiites, the Shiites of Ali, the Shiites of Haidar al-Qurra, the Shiites of Husayn, they have a rank like no other. True. But not on what I say. Not on what I say I am the Shia. It matters nothing. It is irrelevant. What matters for a person to become a Shia of Ali is not that a person goes onto the mountain and says, I am a Shia of Ali. That is of absolute no use. The real thing is Ali says, you are my Shia. That is when the reality, all those ahadith come into play. The problem with this is by doing these things, we feel, mota thega ja, bahut tir maru. MashaAllah. Ab to jo hai, nobody can stop us from going into paradise. But is that what Imam Zamana feels about us? Is that what he feels? That we are so good? Ayatollah Bahjat in his book, Dar Mahadar Bahjat. I'd mentioned this book once before, mentioning it second time. It's online, you got hard copies, you can read it. If you know Persian, I'm not sure whether it's translated. It should be translated. It's just such a popular book. What is this, does Mahadar Bahjat? People who have been with Ayatollah Bahjat asked him questions. When they answered, they noted down. And this book was compiled as a compilation of all the answers or responses given by Ayatollah Bahjat. Dar Mahazara Bahjat. Sheikh knows Persian, so he would be very... 2 volumes. In that, one of the instances about the 12th Imam that Ayatollah Bahjat mentions, he says, and I'll link it up to an incident narrated by Haj Muhammad Ali Fashandi. Agha says Imam Zaman has a complaint against the Shiites. Has a complaint against the Shiites. And he's talking about relating to one instance where one of his person known to Ayatollah Bahjat met Imam Zamana in Masjid Jamkaran. Now all those who have these doubts about, can these meetings take place or no, this is people of Juhal who talk about it. Anybody tells you that the meeting with Imam Zamana is not possible, he's a Jahil. Just tell him you're a Jahil. Quran says, وَإِذَا خَاطَبُهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. Just say salam and move out. Because this man doesn't know anything. The number of books that are written, one thing that comes to mind, Tasharrufat, written by Ayatollah Ali Akbar Nahawandi. Ajib book that man has written. You read it, anybody says this mulaqat is not possible, don't even talk to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. There, Ayatollah Bahjat says, I know of a person who met, personally I know him. When Imam met him, Imam is complaining. Imam is complaining to him. He's saying people come to Jamkaran, they've got a plethora of problems. Problems of money, problems of health, problems of wife, problems of children, problem of this, problem of that. They keep coming to Masjid Jamkaran and they keep asking me to help them out. But the fun part is, and these are my words, the fun part is all these people come and ask me to solve their problems. None of them are in any way concerned about me. ये हमारे बारे में कोई फिक्र नहीं करते. They come about themselves. Yabna Rasulullah, Ya Hujjat ibn al-Hasan, solve this problem, do this to me, sort it out, falan problem. They're all worried about themselves, they're not worried about me. They're not worried about me. This is his complaint, which is now replicated by what Sheikh Haj Muhammad Ali Fashandi narrates. He says, one day I was in Jamkaran. These all recorded. He says, I am a personal witness to this. He says, I was in Masjid Jamkaran. It was a hot day. Summer is hot. This was a hot day. And I was there for my ziyarat. And all of a sudden, I was near a water fountain and I saw a Sayyid, luminous face, Jalilul Qadr, Bawakar, dignity, coming into Masjid Jamkaran. I looked at the sun beating down. It's summer, it's hot. I just felt, this Sayyid must be thirsty. Now everybody does for thawab, yeah? So he fills up a water, he says, yeah Sayyid, it's hot, you've just entered, it must be hot, you must be thirsty, drink some water. So the Sayyid takes it, he drinks it. As he drinks it, Muhammad Ali Fashandi says, I said to him, he says, Sayyid, alan ke aap ke khordeen, barai ta'jeel zuhur Imam Zaman dua bhi farmai. He says, oh Sayyid, you've drank the water, now I just have to request you, please pray for the zuhur of the 12th Imam. He says, the moment I said this, the person who drank the water looks at me And he says, our Shiites are not worried about us and give importance to us in the measure of even drinking of water. He said this, Shiyan ma, our Shiites do not even care about us to the level of drinking of water. Had they been worried about us, they would have prayed for my reappearance. And if I had prayed for my reappearance, Allah would have brought about my reappearance. He said this, and Muhammad Ali Fashandi says, he just disappeared. And it was that time I realized that it was Imamism. So now we find out that Imam, when he says, we may say whatever we might want to say. Oh, we are the best of the followers of Imam Zamana. But Imam has a different opinion about us. Imam has a different opinion about us. Don't make ourselves too holier than thou. We come over here, we recite Ziyarat on Friday, we do this, we come on 15 Shaban. Don't think we've done something big. In his eyes, we are probably not to that level. Otherwise, he would not have complained. They don't even care for us to the level of drinking of water. Aap khordan baray maun ahmiyat qail nistan. This is a jolting thing. And I'll give you example. I'll give you example right now. Right now. I saw this message from Com Unite. Ariza set up. The Arizas, their link is given. Write your Ariza, send it. Very good. But I want to ask you something, yeah? What is this Ariza issue? Ariza is a way that has been given to us to communicate with our Imam. See how? How see you, Shaykhana? This is to communicate with the Imam. What do we keep saying? Allahumma ajil walik al-faraj. Allah hasten the reappearance of the 12th Imam. Okay. Allah said, okay, I will give you my hujjat. What are you going to do? So what would we do? आपने सुन कर सो क्या कर लेते हैं हम? इमाम ज़माना आ गए हमारे पास बस बाहर बैठे वो क्या कर लेते हैं आप? We would say what? Oh, the Imam is not there, we're having a problem. Because if we have problems, we can't go to him. Those at the time of the 6th Imam, if they had problem, they would go in Medina, knock the door of the Imam. Imam, this masla I don't know. This problem is there. I'm having issues. Pray for me. My neighbor doesn't have a child. Pray for me. This is an issue. How do I sort it out? This masla, what is the answer? That's what we would do. Isn't that? Imam ka zahir hona, samne hona. What is it? What will you do? You want to take benefit from him. You want to learn from him. You want him to solve our problems. You want him to pray to God because he's mustajabud dawat. He's the door. Aina babul ladhi yuta'minhu. We read in Dua, where is the door from which and through which Allah graces the entire universe existence? He's the door. So we would go to him. We have been told Ariza is there as a communication between you and the Imam. We have restricted this Ariza to 15th of Shaban at the time of Fajr. Uske alawa Ariza sochta hi nahi hame. We don't think about Ariza. We've been told it's a way of communicating with your Imam. Then we say, oh, if Imam was there, we will talk to him. Baba, you've been told that same tradition which says that Imam is ghaib, that same tradition tells us you want to communicate with the Imam, the Ariza is there. But what have we done? How many times in the entire year do we remember? Except on 15 Shaban do we go into Ariza? Whereas Ariza is a way, you have a problem, it is like going to the door of Imam Saduq, knocking door and asking question, keep writing Ariza. Every day write Ariza, every week write Ariza, every month write Ariza. We brought it down to, a ritual that has to be done on 15 Shaban. He is there to listen. Ayatullah Behjat says, he is there on record to have stated, what understanding do you have of the Imam? What do you even know about the Imam? Do you know he hears you when you pray to the Imam? He says, what is the difference between, this is what he says, what is the difference between the lips and the ears? A person's own lips and ears, one span. He says, when you pray to Imam Zamana, before your words reach your ears, it has reached the ears of Imam Zamana. This is not me saying, I have no standing, I'm just a courier talking to you from what people who have done it. He says, when you pray to Imam, before your words reach your ears, it has gone to the ears of Imam Zamana. When you have this, then we want to only keep it for 15th of Shaban. Baba, this Ariza is the door of Imam Sadiq in Medina in Hudur, not in Ghaibat. If we were there in Medina, we keep saying, oh, us zamane mein to agar hum hote to phir to hum Amir al-Mu'minin ka saath dete. We would have gone and asked Imam Sadiq. We would have helped Imam Rida al-Islam. When we are told this is the means of talking, this is the door to Imam al-Zaman, how many of us use it? We keep complaining, we've got problems, we got problems, we got problems. The Ahlul Bayt will solve the problem. The Ahlul Bayt who's alive, the member of the Ahlul Bayt who's alive, we've got the way to talk to him, we don't talk to him. Then we say, Allahumma ajil waliyakal faraj. If Wahi of Allah were to come to us and says, you know how to talk to my Hujjat, you're not talking. If I bring him before you, what will you do? This is the problem that we've got. Our understanding of religion is very weak. There are people, there are ulama, there are maraje who for every problem they put arida. That arisa is a communication. Like I just mentioned, Ali ibn Ibrahim, Ali ibn Husayn ibn Bab, Ali ibn Husayn al-Babwai, the father of Sheikh Saduq. He had a problem. What did he do? He wrote a letter to Imam Zamana through the Naib. Now that the Naib is now that we've been told, your ariza is not going anywhere. It is still there. Send it to me. That is what you recite when you give. When the dua, what is the dua that you recite when you put the ariza into the water? Ya Husayn ibn Raw. Inna wafataka fi sabilillah. واشهد انك حي عند الله مرزوق وقد خاطبتك في حياتك التي عند الله هذه رقعتي الى مولانا صاحب الامر فسلمها اليه فانت الثقة الامين. I bear witness that you passed your life in the way of God, and now that you're dead, you're not dead, you're living in the path in the presence of God. You're getting your rizq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In that life that you've got, لقد خاطبتك في حياتك التي, I'm speaking to you in that hayat that you've got next to God. This hadihi ruqati, this is my arida. Ila Maulana Sahib al-Amr, to my Mawla Sahib al-Amr, Sahib al-Zaman. فَسَلِّمْهَا إِلَيْهِ فَأَنْتَ الثِّقَةُ الْأَمِينُ. You were his naib, I'm giving you the request to pass it on to Imam al-Zaman. We've been told this is what would happen when Imam was in Ghaibat al-Sughra. You would go give it to Imam Hassan ibn Ruh. Husayn ibn Ruh would give it to Imam Zaman alayhi salam. We've been told exactly the same method is now available over here. Go, put it into the water, put it into the dhari, put it into XYZ. It will reach me, I will solve your problem. Not that I need you to write to me. I know what goes in your heart. But I need an effort from your side. I need you to make an effort. You make an effort, write something to me and see how we respond to you. But no, we want to complain. We don't want to use the keys given to us. Then who's at problem? Who's at fault? You tell me. We say, oh, because Imam is not there. Baba, Imam is there. Communication routes are open. We've been told what are the means of communication. We don't want to use it. We want to bring it down to the level of a ritual on 15th of Shaban. Aaj sab jo hai jayega Fajr ke namaz ke baad. That is not for Fajr namaz. On 15th of Shaban. It is in Muharram and Safar and Rabiul Awwal and Rabiul Akhir and Jamadil Awwal and Jamadil Sakhar and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every day. That is what an Imam is supposed to be there. He's there for us. If we go to him, we listen to this incident and then we stop out. To understand, change our mindset. And I'm telling you, Khuda gawah hai, Khuda gawah. 2 days ago, I received a message from a friend in Australia. I was there for some time. He's saying, Sheikh, and I remember the time last year. I was having a problem with my brother. For several years we were not talking. And one fine day, just somebody, in Shaban, says, I felt this is not right. I need to communicate. I need to connect, but it was not working out. I said, what do I do? How do I patch up? He says, I wrote an ariza to Imam Zaman alayhi salam. He says, I got that message with me on my WhatsApp. He says, Khuda Shahid is telling me, God is witness. He says, I wrote, the next day my brother calls me. He says, Fulan, I think we've not been speaking for some time. Let's patch up. I'd taken a few youngsters in the morning at around 12 o'clock at night. The same thing, Ariza. I said, he's your Imam. Talk to him. I write 4 days, 5 days ago, I had a problem. I put an Ariza. I put some, it's not this I'm telling you just like this. I won't tell you anything unless I don't do it. He's telling me, I took a few of the friends, we put Ariza. 2-3 days later, I was still in Australia. I won't tell you which city. Comes to me, Sheikhna, something has happened. I said, what? He says, Sheikhna, I put an Ariza for one issue. I didn't want to tell you at that time, but I'm telling you now. He says, for 2 months, my property was not being rented out. It was in the market. And I was really troubled because a lot of expenses were accrued up. And I put that Ariza. 2 days later, the property went off. Tenanted. He's there to help us. Listen to this incident and then we stop. This is in the time, again I'm telling you, because a lot of things during the time of Ayatollah Bahjat has come out because of his students and his particular rank. And this is being narrated by a person. The person is a student of the University of Tehran. His name is Ahmed. This Ahmed was in the university. He was a university student. In the university, you know, when students go into university, at times some people maintain themselves, some people just go all out. Away from home, enjoy. Partying, clubbing. Even Tehran. Tehran is no way paradise. Ask us, yeah? Mami don't in Tehran. What you don't get in Tehran. So he says, I was there in Tehran and there would be alcohol bottles in my fridge, in my dormitory, in my rooms, and no namaz. Where namaz? Somebody's consuming alcohol and beer. Namaz. It so happened that the university decided to take a group of people to come for ziyarat. So my name came out, so I went to ziyarat. When they went to ziyarat, they also arranged, you know, a meeting with ulama. One of the meetings was the Ayatollah Bahjat. He says, I was told, this man, he spiritually saw this thing, he sees a person's internal souls. He sees, and we've seen it when we've met him. So many things we've seen that Ayatollah Bahjat when we were young. So he says, everybody was telling me, this man, he knows a person's inner state. So we were made, Aga was sitting, everybody was made to enter, everybody would enter, Aga would look at him, how are you? Hope everything is okay. First person comes, hello, how are you? Sit down. Second person, hello, how are you? Says, my turn came, Aga did not even look at me. He didn't even look at me. And I'm wanting, before me 20 people go, everybody, I'll pray for you. I went as if in lam yakun shay'an madhkura. I'm not there. I don't exist. As if he's seeing through me, just not looking at me. And I was hurt. And I said, and after me, everybody came. Everything is okay. Sit down, sit down. He just bypassed me. And Ahmed is saying, I looked at myself and said, Ahmed, look where you've dropped yourself. Look at your state. He doesn't even want to look at you. This is your life. This is what you've become. You've become worse than an animal. He said that entire discussion finished, and throughout the whole thing, he totally disregarded me, as if I don't exist. He says, I went back, I was absolutely broken down. He says, Ahmed, what life are you leading? People like him, you will only be taken into consideration by your category. People who are really good, they won't even give you a damn about you. He said, at that time, I made a niyat. He says, I have to change. He says, I reached my room, I took out all the bottles of alcohol, I threw it out. My namaz, I started to pray on time. I started to change. Partying stopped. Girls stopped. Everything stopped. This point he's saying, this I controlled myself for 1 month. 1 month. Ittifaq, and it so happened that another group was deciding to go for ziyarat Qum, and ittifaqan again his name came out. He said, let's go. That group also went to meet Ayatollah Bahjat. Now he's got it just a month now, and he's it's still new. एक महीने की बात, 1 महीने में तो कोई भूलता नहीं, वो तो मजलिस है कि 5 मिनट में भूल जाते, लेकिन इस तो भूलता नहीं है ना. So you don't forget so easily 1 month ago. So everybody's starting to enter, and he's resigned himself to the fact that the last time was going to happen this time. So he says, I didn't even look up when I was entering. I said, at least I will see him. I don't expect him to see. So as I was watching him, everybody, says, my turn came. I just put my head down and stood near the door. All of a sudden, I was just thinking, I said, just wait, you've seen him, now everybody goes, you will go. And I was just thinking, my friend, you really need to change. And all of a sudden, I'm hearing people telling, Ahmed Aga, Aga bo shumast. Ahmed, Aga is talking to you. So I look up, and I see Aga looking at me. He says, come here. So he says, me? He says, yes, come here. So I went and he says, no, come closer. So he goes closer. Aga puts his lips to his ears and says, it's been 1 month that you've made Imam Zaman. I'm very happy. 1 month Imam Zaman is very happy with you. He sees, He watches, He knows what goes in our lives. We are not aware of it, but He is very aware of it. कभी मौका आएगा तो हम आपको बताएंगे कि how the Imams know about us, what they know about us, their love towards the Shiites. I mentioned in Mantadis, you will go with tears in your eyes, your goose pimples in your hands if you you read those traditions about how much an Imam loves you. Here Agha is telling him, 1 month you stop consuming alcohol, you change. Last time you came a month, you made a decision to change. 1 month you've made Dil Imam Zaman Rashad Kardi. You made the heart of Imam Zamana happy in this 1 month. So understand, what we need to understand is that Imam may be ghaib to us, but we are not ghaib to him. We may think he doesn't see us, but he sees us. We may think he doesn't listen to us, but he listens to us. The important thing is not that we should see him. We should know that he's listening. The important thing is if he sees us and he listens to us, our work is sorted out. If we understand this ma'arifat of Imam, if we understand the falsafa of ghaibat does not mean I have to see the Imam for my problems to be solved. It doesn't mean I have to know that Imam is hearing my words for the problems to be solved. There's the fact that he sees us and he hears us. He has the ability to solve our problems. Let's get out of this, that Daqiyanus, orthodox, and baseless mindsets that we've got with regards to Imam. Make it more wide. Understand, he's watching us, he's listening. He's happy with us when we are happy. He's sad with us when we are sad. Take him to be amongst us. Only thing is somebody you can't see, he can see. Then you will find how we will be able to approach him better. Our marifat increases, our love towards him will increase, his inclination towards us will become more, and that will lead us to success in dunya and akhirah. Let's pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. بحق محمد وأنت المحمود وبحق علي وأنت الأعلى وبحق فاطمة وأنت فاطر السماوات والأرض وبحق الحسن وأنت المحسن وبحق الحسين وأنت قديم الإحسان وبحق التسعة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين عليه السلام. Oh Allah, by the sake of the holy Ahl Bayt, by the sake of the Wiladat of Imam Zaman alayhi salam, accept our ibadat for tonight. Allah, grant us tawfiq that this ibadat of ours serve as a shafa'at for us on the Day of Judgment. Allah, more than this, our presence over here for the majlis of Imam Husayn, our presence over here following the ahadith of the Masumin in terms of the ibadat, may this be our love that you present to the Masumin, showing that we love them and we follow them. Allah, by the sake of the Ahlul Bayt, by the sake of Imam Qadim al-Islam, all those who are sick, grant them an expedited and full recovery. परवरदिगारा तुझे वास्ता इमाम जवाद का, तुझे वास्ता जो है वो पिसर इमाम रज़ा al-Islam का, जो भी मकरूज़न के कर्ज़ों को अदा फरमा. परवरदिगारा जो तंगदस्त है उनकी तंगदस्ती को दूर फरमा. परवरदिगारा अहले बैत के सदक़े में जो भी परेशान हाल उनकी परेशानी को दूर फरमा. हमारे तम हाज़रीन और जो भी गायबीन है, जो भी मुहिब्ब अहले बैत है, जो भी मुहिब्ब हैदर कर्रार है, उनके घरों से, उनकी ज़िंदगी से बीमारी, बला, आफ़त, तकलीफ़, परेशानियों को दूर फरमा. परवरदिगारा हमारे मरहूमीन की मग़फ़रत फरमा. परवरदिगारा हमारे आक़िबत बख़ैर फरमा. हम जब दुनिया से जाए तो तेरी तौहीद, रसूल खुदा के रिसालत और अहले बैत की विलायत लेके जाएँ. परवरदिगारा हमारे बच्चों की ईमान की हिफाजत फरमा. परवरदिगारा हमारी नस्ल क़यामत तक जो है वो जारी और सारी फरमा. परवरदिगार हमारे बच्चों को गुमराह होने से बचाना. इस वेस्टर्न कल्चर के जो है वो अनअडल्टरेटेड एंड एब्सोल्यूट करप्शन को परवरदिगारा हमारे बच्चों से दूर रखना. परवरदिगारा हमें जन्नत नसीब फरमा. हमारे आक़िबत बख़ैर फरमा. हमें जो है आला इल्लीन में जन्नत में जगह अता फरमा. और परवरदिगारा आज की जो हालात है हाज़रा है, परवरदिगारा दुश्मनान इस्लाम को सरनगून फरमा. परवरदिगारा उनके साजिशों को नीस्त और नाबूद फरमा. परवरदिगारा मुहिब्ब अहले बैत, शियान अहले बैत को सरफराज और सरबुलंद फरमा. परवरदिगारा जो भी साजिशें उनके ख़िलाफ़ हो रही है, शियों के ख़िलाफ़ हो रही है, मुसलमानों के ख़िलाफ़ हो रही है, परवरदिगारा अपनी कुदरत मुतलक़ा के ज़रिए से उन तमाम साजिशों को नीस्त और नाबूद फरमा. और परवरदिगारा इस्लाम का परचम सरबुलंद फरमा. सुब्हान रब्बिका रब्बिल इज़्ज़ति अम्मा यसिफ़ून व सलामुन अलल मुरसलीन वल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन. एक नारे सलवात.
السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين، خصوصا سيدي ومولاي أبو الفضل العباس بن أمير المؤمنين، وأختك زينب وأم كلثوم وبنتك رقية جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولا وابن مولاي، السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء، السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء، السلطان أبا الحسن مولانا علي بن موسى الرضا، كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء، وفقنا الله لزيارتك يا مولاي، وارزقنا الله شفاعتك في الدنيا والآخرة. السلام عليك يا مغيث الشيعة والزوار في يوم الجزاء، السلام عليك وعلى أختك فاطمة المعصومة، يا فاطمة اشفعي لي في الجنة فإن لك عند الله شأنا من الشأن. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله